Well, alrighty guys, welcome back to another one. Yesterday, I stopped at one of the local stores around here, gun stores, Stevens Guns in Cannonsburg, Ashland, here in Kentucky. I found these, Remington 4x6. These are multi-range duplex shot shells. I believe these are from the 90s or maybe early 2000s. As you can tell, they got some age on them. This is a 2-ounce load, 3-inch shell, max dram equivalent. It doesn't actually list the velocity. 4x6 shot, meaning number 4 and number 6. Our revolutionary new SP multi-range shot shells are loaded with 2 different shot sizes. This duplex load consists of a smaller shot size for dense uniform patterns at all normal ranges, plus a second load of larger, heavier shot which penetrates leaves and brush at closer ranges while delivering optimum energy and penetration at longer ranges. And judging by the picture on the box right here, we have what looks to be 1.5 ounces of number 6 shot and then a 1/2 ounce of the number 4 shot. Trying to show you here, you can see most of it are the smaller pellets, and up here towards the top of the shell are the larger pellets, the number 4 shot. So let's start by dissecting one of these, see how it's made, and then let's see if I can't load something better. I don't know how these perform. We have not shot one of these yet, but we will. And we'll shoot whatever I come up with right beside it and see which one's better. I got a feeling my hand load will be a little bit better. But this is a really cool looking hull. 3-inch, of course. We have a black, it's steel, blued steel base with a Remington primer and an olive green hull. I'm trying to show you here, but the lighting just... Yep, we have an olive green hull. I actually have some 10 gauge shells from Remington that look just like this, only longer and fatter. So let's go ahead and break this open and see what's in it. I'm just using a small flathead screwdriver to do this. Put it right in the middle of the crimp and pry it straight up. Just like that. And then once you have it up, just work it around. Careful not to split the crimp, because that's actually pretty easy to do when you're breaking open crimp shells. And it looks like we have a mix of copper plated. I'll show you here once I get in the light. A mix of copper plated and unplated shot, and it looks like the picture on the box is accurate. All the number 4 shot is on top. Now when I dump this out, obviously it's going to be all mixed together, but that's okay. I'll mark this one. I'll color the primer red, that way we know not to shoot this one in the video. We'll shoot a different one that hasn't been opened up. But anyway, this is a buffered load, by the way, so I'm just dumping it in this strainer here. This should get all the buffer out of it too, and into this actually buffer lid right here I have. And as you can see, it is a mix of copper plated and unplated lead shot. Still has some of the buffer in it. That's okay. I'll show you a better view here. There. Mix of copper plated and unplated. That's pretty cool. So to get the wad out, you need a pair of not needle nose pliers, just wire cutters. Stick it right in there as far as you can down and turn it. And that's going to flare out the end of the shell. Now, to pull the wad, a pair of needle nose pliers, not wire cutters. Grab hold of the wad. This looks like it's an SP12 wad. Shake it on a hard surface to get the powder not stuck to the wad. And here's our wad. Not 100% sure what that one is. Doesn't really look like an SP12. Maybe it's a proprietary Remington wad. Who knows? Probably is. The box just claims it's a power piston wad. It doesn't say exactly what model it is. But yes, I'm going to pour the powder in my hand. My hands are clean. I just washed them prior to filming because I knew I'd be pouring the powder into my hand. It just looks like... It looks like Alliance steel, but it probably is not Alliance steel. Just for the sake of it, let's see how much this powder charge weighs. I have the hull I'm about to load up. It's another Remington hull. This one's a new hull though, modern. This one's old. But just see how many grains this powder charge weighs. I'm guessing 34. We have 32 grains. I was close. It's 32, not 34. But anyway, This is a yellow base hull. I'm trying to show you here. I think you can see it. It's a yellow base hull. Base wad is yellow. Oh, let's put it back together. Here's our wad. Get that in there. Our shot. Let's see if this actually is 2 ounces. Right back in. Don't drop any. Awesome, didn't drop a single one. We have 1.94 ounces. That means with the buffer, it's probably a 2 ounce load. Here's the buffer. Well, can't really see it, but hold on. There you go. Not a lot of buffer, but it is large buffer. A lot larger than the Ballistic Products buffer I have. And we have a total payload of 1.97 ounces. So it's basically a 2 ounce load. I have opened up some modern Remington's turkey loads. It's the Nitro Turkey. 3.5 inch 12 gauge. It claims it's a 2 ounce load at 1,300 feet a second, but actually it's a 1 7/8 ounce load with the buffer, and it might be 1,300. I don't know. We haven't ran one over a chronograph, but that's something we might do one day. The 3 inch loads I have, same Nitro Turkey, 2 ounce, are 2 ounces. The 1 7/8 ounce load I have is 1 7/8 ounces, and both of those are with the buffer. But they have lower velocity than the 3.5 inch shell, which tells me that they're sacrificing a little bit of payload in the 3.5 inch shell for more velocity. Makes sense to me. But anyway, let's get this shot back in here. There we go. Make it settle down. Backstation of the reload all is the 6-point crimp. I have this one set up for 12 gauge today because this one is set up for 16 gauge. I'm loading some clay loads, 7/8 ounce target loads to shoot clays with. And here's what we have. That is a factory shell, but it crimped just the same as a factory load. I'll show you one here. Yeah, they look alright. Or about the same, I mean. There you go. I'm going to add some sealant back to that. Right here, my clear nail polish. Just going to touch that shell back up because the others they have a sealant on them, so this one is getting a sealant back on it. And like I said, I'm going to mark that primer with a Sharpie. Here's my red one. Just so we know not to fire this one in the video. Because this one was, I mixed the shot all around. Number 4 should be on top, according to the picture on the box and what I've seen inside the shell. There we go. So what am I going to do? Well, this is a heavy steel hull, the one I had earlier, loaded by Remington. We shot this a few months ago. It was a 1 1/4 ounce of BB shot. That's not the primer it had in it. I just stuck that one in there to measure the powder charge. So I don't need to resize this, but you know what? This was fired out of my AK-12, and that gun messes up brass sometimes, so why not resize it a second time? I'll show you a little trick how to get these super tall brass shells off of the reload all. There's not enough throw on the handle here to kick these super high brass shells off like this one here is. It needs a little bit more. But there's a little trick you can do. Fully resized now. Well, it was already resized, but the ring is fully on it. Take your pieces that seat your primer out of it, and then knock the size ring off. And that was violent. We can get the ring off no problem. If that was still in there, the ring would be stuck on about 2 millimeters, and you have to pry it off or set something like a socket extension in here, you know, square surface, and knock it out by hand or with a hammer. But just taking that out is a lot easier than doing that. Actually, you know what? To show you what I'm talking about, I went ahead and put it back on there. I have the pieces back in the press now, and as you can see, the ring is stuck on it by about 2 millimeters, and kind of got to pry it off, or again, knock it off with the socket extension or a hammer. and a hammer on a surface like that that grabs the ledge of the ring, or like I showed you a second ago, just take these out and just like that. Anyway, I'm using a Federal 209A primer here. You can use a Shadid or Winchester, whatever you got. I'm using 32 grains of Blue Dot here. 32. On top of that 32 grains of Blue Dot, I'm using the LBC 50 wad. We need to slit this because these do not come pre-slit. So, I'm grabbing Gary Caskey's wad slitter here. We're doing a 4-pedal half cut on the wad. Look at that, it's already set up to do a half cut. This is adjustable, by the way. You guys have seen this 1,000 times by now. We now have a 4-pedal half cut. Just as quick and easy as that. I'm going to set that on top of the powder. Again, that was 32 grains of Blue Dot and a 1/4 inch 20 gauge felt wad. Give that a little bit of compression. Okay, so the shot I'm using is homemade number 6 shot that was sent to me by Joseph. So thank you very much for that. Loading 1.45 ounces of this homemade number 6 shot. I'm doing that because the last 0.05 of the whole 2 ounces will be buffer. If you guys aren't going to use buffer, then just load 1.5 here. And on top of that 1.45 ounces of number 6 shot, I'm using a bag, well, this bag of high antimony number 4 shot that Josh gave me. Just gave it to me to load up some turkey shells with, make some videos with, stuff like that. So we need a 1/2 ounce of this number 4 shot. And there's that 1.95. Okay. So I'm adding 1 scoop of the Lee 2.2 cc dipper of buffer. I'm using Ballistic Products original buffer here. 1 scoop of it. Just tamp that down until it's flush with the top row of pellets. In my experience, a 2.2 cc dipper full of buffer with a 2 or around 2 ounce load will get the job done. That's the perfect amount. You can tamp it down to where it's flush with the top row of pellets, just like that right there, and it won't really settle any more than that. But this is a 6-point crimp haul, so we need, again, the back station of the lead load all, at least the 12 gauge version. The 16 and 20 gauge versions are backwards. The 6 is in the front, 8's in the back, but 6 is in the back on the 12 gauge press. And we need to line the point of the crimp up with you. Here's the pre-crimp. Looks pretty good. Alright, let's crimp this thing. And we ended up with a really nice looking shell here. Looks about like factory. There's one more thing we can do to this besides putting the sealant on here. I have a taper die for a Lee load all here. It does 10, 12, and 16 gauge. I've modified it to do 10 gauge, but this puts a really nice taper on your shells, as you can see right there. And lastly, we're putting our sealant on it. Just like the 4x6 factory loads. Once that dries, it'll look great. The goal here wasn't to duplicate Remington's load, it was to, hopefully, surpass it. The gun that we'll be shooting these loads out of is my Mossberg 835. I would show you the gun, but I don't have it here. It stays at Josh's house, and I'm sure you guys have seen the gun by now. It's a cool looking old 835, early 90s model. Alright, so before I sign this video off, I want to show you guys something pretty cool. What I think is pretty cool anyway. I found a 28 gauge kit for the Lee load all. Now, I'll be doing a full demo of this kit soon, but for right now I'm just showing you how it crimps, which is really nice, by the way. This kit will do everything except for resizing your hull. You do need to buy a separate mech resize ring, but those are like $8, so not a huge expense at all. And the price for this kit is pretty inexpensive too. But like I said, I'm just showing you how it crimps right now. I'll be doing a full demo in the near future. I have the vinyl crimp tube which is also the taper die, and the piece that actually pushes in the crimp of the shell here. Now, this does come with a crimp starter, but I'm not using it. Instead, I'm using my mech crimp starter for a 28 gauge because it slides up nice and neatly onto the 16 gauge final crimp tube of the Handloading press. I can use that as a pre-crimp station, just like this. And our pre-crimp looks like that. Now, how this works, you just use this station, the front pre-crimp station of the Handloading, to crimp your shell. See how that looks right now? The hope you can see it. All you do is set it on there. You use the front pre-crimp tube station of the Handloading. You add a little bit of pressure and basically get it looking just like that, maybe a little bit more. What that does is closes the crimp up a little bit, and this piece is what you use to close the crimp. Set in the same spot you had it. This goes right in the middle there, and you just like that. Looks nice. Now you'll notice this is kind of tight in there, and you can see it is a little bit flared out on the end, but this is also the taper die. So just run it down one more time, and now it should just fall right out, and it does. So how does the crimp actually look? Well, here is the AA hull that I just loaded. As you can see, we have a nice deep set crimp. It is tapered. Looks great. We have a Fiocchi low brass hull. It also looks really, really good. Nice deep set crimp. And we have this is a Spartan, but it's a Shaddai hull. Again, low brass on this one. Straight wall. The Winchester AAHS is tapered. And again, a really, really nice looking crimp. These are all 3/4 ounce loads. But how about that? That $32 kit can put out some really nice crimps on some once fired shells. It'll also do new hulls too. I have some 3-inch shells that I have loaded up on this thing with 1 ounce loads. A 3-inch 28 can go a little past 1 ounce. I have some factory Fiocchi Golden Pheasants that are 3-inch 28 gauge, ounce and 1/16 at 1200 FPS. So that's a pretty good load. It almost rivals a 12 gauge. Light load for a 12 gauge. One more thing, if these shells slide in and out of the taper die, which they do, they are ready to go. These chamber perfectly in my semi-auto 28. There is no bulge in the case anywhere. The crimps are nice and flush with the rest of the case. They chamber perfectly. The guy that makes these kits, his YouTube channel is 3D Reloading and More. He also makes them in at least 410 and 10 gauge that I know of for certain. I did request a 24 gauge, just the crimp piece and the taper die final crimp tube for 24 gauge. So he's supposed to be sending me one of those, and I did ask him for a 32 gauge one as well. I took my digital calipers, measured the measurements on this, and calculated it down to fit 24 or 32 gauge shells, so I should be able to crimp my 24 and 32 gauge shells a little bit easier now with these two pieces right here. Well guys, I guess that's going to end the video here. Please like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you got any questions or comments, leave it in the comment section down below. We will get back to you. If you want to, go check out our Patreon. It's as low as $1 a month. Every penny we get goes right back into the channel, and you get early access to videos. We also have an Instagram. That will be in the description below too. It's at The Shotgun Scientist. And go check out our Rumble channel. We post some stuff on there that we can't post here on YouTube. But other than that, you guys take it easy. We will see you in the next one.